27th. I'd like to start off the meeting first by making an announcement. The City Council regular meeting will be conducted virtually this evening with council members conferencing into City Hall. In accordance with the state of emergency declared by the Missouri Governor, Executive Order Number 5, and the Cass County Health Department Order Number 20-06, requiring shelter at home, the public will not be present. The public can view the meeting live by going to www.raymore.com/video. The public can also submit comments at any time during the meeting by emailing Mr. Mike Eakey, our Assistant City Manager, at mekey@raymore.com, and those comments will be read aloud at the public comments, Section 11, part of this agenda. So to start the meeting off, I'll call the meeting to order, and could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad.
She said here.
Councilmember Barber.
Present.
Councilmember Berenson.
Present.
Councilmember Burke.
Present.
Councilmember Serko.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Present.
Councilmember Townsend.
Present.
Mayor Turnbow.
Present. We have a quorum, and would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have no personal appearances this evening, but we do have a proclamation to be provided. I had asked our office to prepare this proclamation, and it is for our Municipal Clerks Week. And I'd like to read that proclamation if I could. We're very proud of our clerk's office. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their regional, state, and international professional organizations. Now therefore I, Christopher P. Turnbow, Mayor of the City of Raymore, do hereby proclaim the week of May 3 through May 9, 2020 as Municipal Clerks Week in the City of Raymore, Missouri, to recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand, cause the seal of the City of Raymore be affixed this 27th day of April, 2020. Congratulations, Jeannie. Also pass that along to your colleague as well. Thank you. And we shall now move into staff reports. Mr. Furborn.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a staff report for Public Works. Mr. Krass is sitting immediately behind me by 2 tables.
Thank you, Mr. Furborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. In addition to my written report that you have in your packet, I wanted to update you on a few projects. We held a pre-construction conference last week for Westgate Drive, relocated Kentucky. We do anticipate work starting on that in late May. We received bids for the Herald Estates Sanitary Sewer Project last week. That will be coming forward to council at a council meeting in May. Mr. Eakey and I have been meeting regularly with our counterparts in Belton regarding the build grant. The deadline for that application is coming up shortly, and there is quite a bit of work that our consultants have been working on in the background, and we look forward to a successful application there. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Mr. Krass? If not, I'll go back to Mr. Furborn.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Krass. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a report for Parks and Recreation. He is immediately behind the chief in the far left-hand corner of the room.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, members of the council, good to see everyone tonight. I have also submitted a written staff report. It's a little bit different than my typical reports that you've seen, as I went a little more in depth with what our parks crew have been doing during this time. I know a lot of folks think that all we do is mow, and that is far from the truth, so I wanted to provide a little more in-depth report for you to know exactly what's going on and what we've been doing during this time. So I'll leave that for you to read, and I have no problems answering any questions with that. I would like to say also that I'm extremely proud of my recreation staff during this time, as they have increased the programming opportunities through social media and online. I know tomorrow night we're gearing up for, I believe, the 3rd to 4th week of our quiz, our trivia nights online, and they're just highly successful. And we're working hard with other communities, preparing for when we can provide ball seasons and outdoor sports. So once all this is past us, we will be ready to go, and they've worked very hard to get to that point. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Mr. Mustine?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman. I have one.
Mr. Holman?
Mr. Mustine, been trying to drive by TB Hanna Station as often as possible. I was wondering if you just might have kind of an update. I know they've been working pretty diligently over there. Looks like the playground's pretty much finished, and I know they've been doing some of the work for the spray ground, but I thought maybe you might have a little bit more info for us on that project.
Yes, sir. Happy to give an update on that. So TB Hanna Station, we're kind of in the home stretch on that. We most of the trail, the sidewalk around the park has been done, except for what we need to leave opening for concrete trucks and such. The playground is complete outside of installing the swings and the apparatuses that they would use, which we don't want to do till the very end. Basically, the plumbing of the spray ground is now installed. What we will be moving towards next is concrete and preparing the surface of the spray ground. The spray ground equipment, or the vertical pieces, they are on route, should be delivered. So the schedule is moving right along. We're doing the retaining wall and the other trail portion that connects the depot. So the project's moving forward, sir.
That's good to hear, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, this is Councilman Circo.
Mr. Circo?
Yes, Mr. Mustine. On the area where we do our farmers market, is there going to be any significant changes in that area for this season?
For the farmers market, at this point, that area has been left as green space purposefully for just open programming. Currently, the farmers market, we don't know when we'll be allowed to open that market. We're working through some of those challenges right now to provide that. Right now, the only change you'll see to that particular area is a sidewalk that's been added through that area, which I don't foresee that causing any problems for anyone.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, this is
Yes, Ms. McDowell.
Councilmember Abdul-Samad.
Yes.
Thanks. Just a quick question for Mr. Mustine. I noticed on your report there were a few mentions of things that you were doing preparing for soccer. And so I was wondering, do we have a timeline for spring sports at this point or not?
Excellent question. When I prepared this report, we were actually in discussions with the cities that we share games with, and once this was established, the spring soccer has been suspended for the year, and the volleyball has been suspended for the year. What we've done is the equipment, the uniforms, and things that were pre-purchased, that we have inventoried them and stored them. They're at the rack, and we'll be using those for the fall season. So those resources and things that we've already purchased won't go to waste. Every participant had the opportunity to take a credit towards the fall season or to receive a full refund. So that process is in place.
Anyone else? If not, Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Ms. Mustine. Just want to alert the council, we will be conducting our work session next week. I anticipate it will still be virtual. The topics are somewhat fluid. We do have some set items, but because Monday is a reopening day for the state, I anticipate a very real possibility that an overarching item is going to be talking about where the city is at as far as the governor's order that went out today and where we're going to be at. Maybe a lengthy topic that would push the other topics off. I'll be letting you know once we get that finalized during this week exactly what items will be on the agenda. That concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Mr. Fearborn? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move along to the consent agenda. We have 2 items on our consent agenda this evening: City Council minutes from the April 13th meeting and Resolution 20-26, the acceptance and final payment for the permeable pavers. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman.
Mr. Holman,
Sir, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented, to include item A, the city council minutes from the April 13th, 2020 meeting, and the permeable pavers acceptance and final payment, reference resolution 20-26 project.
thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Barber.
Mr. Barber?
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a unanimous decision there, 8-0. We'll move on now to unfinished business. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3540 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3540 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Terry Snelling Construction, Inc. for the 2020 curb replacement project, City Project Number 20-349-201, in the amount of $595,420, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman.
Mr. Holman,
Sir, I move at this time that we approve Bill 3540, award of contract for the 2020 curb project.
thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Barber.
Mr. Barber?
I will second the motion.
Thank you, sir. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3540. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have we'll now move on to new business. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3541 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3541 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving and authorizing a contract with J&M Displays in the amount of $16,000 to provide pyrotechnic services.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, members of the council. Before you tonight is the recommendation of the Park Board to approve a contract with J&M Displays for the fireworks show that we do every year associated with our Spirit of America event. This particular contract is for 1 year with the option to renew for an additional 2 one-year terms. This particular contract is bid out as the Saturday before the 4th of July date, but this particular year we worked with the J&M's Displays and were able to move that date up as close to the 4th as we could, just to buy us some extra days given the current climate and circumstances that we're in. We did receive 3 bids for this project. We determined that J&M Displays proposal provided us with more shots, larger mortars, a longer display, and a music app that is associated, and it was the best proposal for the budget that we have for this particular program. J&M Displays also released a letter, which I have attached to the packet, indicating their willingness to work with cities and municipalities if events and things are canceled due to the coronavirus right now. So we don't intend to do that, but that is not my decision to make at this point. We just want to have a contract in place if in case we're given the green light to move forward. So with that, the Park Board did meet via Zoom on April 14th. They did recommend unanimously for the approval of this contract. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions of Nathan? If there are none, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman.
Mr. Holman,
Sir, I move that we approve Bill 3541, award of contract for the fireworks displays to J&M Displays.
thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Barber.
Mr. Barber,
I will second the motion.
thank you, sir. There's a motion been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3541. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. Could I please have the reading of Resolution 20-27 by title only?
The reading of Resolution 20-27 by title only. A resolution of the City of Raymore, Missouri, extending the authority of the mayor to declare a state of emergency in response to the COVID-19 virus and to institute the applicable provisions of Chapter 240 of the Raymore Code of Ordinances and Chapter 44 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri.
Mr. Fearborn, you have a staff report?
Thank you, sir. I'm going to ask General Counsel Zur to make the staff report on this item. He's sitting right there.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mayor, members of the council. You all may recall that on March 23rd, 2020 of this year, you passed ordinance number 2020-013, allowing or authorizing the mayor to enact the emergency ordinance provisions for the city of Raymore, Missouri in response to the national, state, and local health officials' efforts to deter the spread of COVID-19. Missouri governor has now issued, along with the Cass County Health Director, orders that will extend the shelter in place until 11:59 p.m. on May 3rd, 2020. And these orders may additionally be further expanded depending upon the effectiveness of containing the spread of COVID-19. In light of that, we have provided the provided resolution 20-27, which would extend the mayor's authority to declare a state of emergency and to institute the provisions of the Raymore Code and the Code of Ordinances for the city of Raymore, as well as the revised statutes of Missouri, until the later of the 11:59 p.m. May 3rd, 2020 deadline, the expiration of any emergency COVID-19 orders issued by the governor of Missouri, or the expiration of any emergency orders issued by the Cass County Health Department. That is what you have this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions, but that would conclude staff report.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Mr. Zur? Hearing none, I did.
Councilman Circo.
Mr. Circo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was curious, now this is extension through Sunday evening midnight on the 3rd of May, correct?
That is correct.
Now, if we were thinking of going into phase 1 on Monday, but we don't meet till Monday evening, would it be a day temporary? We wouldn't actually open on Monday if we were going to do that? Or wait till after go to Tuesday when we meet on Monday evening?
I guess I don't understand the question on that one.
And neither do, basically what this does is it mirrors what we did with the ordinance when all of this started, because the governor has extended his order through 11:59 Sunday night with everything, with supposedly the reopening of the state on Monday. All this does is extend that same the same item to the mayor that we put in place when the ordinance was passed. Both of them expire on Sunday evening at 11:59 unless by chance the governor were to extend his emergency order. Beyond that, the language of this resolution allows this particular resolution would mirror that as it went on with the extension. So we're not coming back to you all on Monday night or Tuesday to continue to do this. And again,
Okay, thank you.
all
Thank you,
this
Chair.
does is it authorizes the mayor, if he so chooses, to extend the emergency order. This is not the emergency order itself.
Thank you.
And frankly, if you thought we as an elected body were going to get into what those areas look like, that will come from the county as far as the procedural matters for restrictions on how we reopen and to what levels. That will come from the county.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So we have a first and a second on this. Could I please have the roll call?
You don't have any motions?
We don't have a motion on this one? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman.
Mr. Holman,
Sir, I move that we approve Resolution 20-27, extension of the mayor's emergency declaration.
thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Barber.
Mr. Barber,
I will second the motion.
thank you, sir. The motion been made and seconded to approve Resolution 20-27. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman.
Mr. Holman,
Sir, I am proud to be the person to move the motion on this tonight. I feel like your leadership has been exemplary in this tough time. You have maintained a steady hand on the wheel, and you have kept us in the calmest waters that you possibly could have. You have not gone overboard either direction, and you have not used your power when you could have but didn't need to. And I, for one, appreciate it. I think this is a wise and prudent move on the part of the council.
thank you, sir. Anyone else? Hearing no further discussion, could I have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad. Councilmember Barber.
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Burke.
Yes.
Councilmember Circo.
Yes.
Councilmember Holman.
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3545 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3545 by title only, an ordinance calling an election in the city of Raymore, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, sir. In December of 2019, the City Council determined and approved moving forward with 2 no tax increase bond issues in the total amount of $23,505,000. The bond issues are divided into streets projects and parks projects. Originally, the City Council desired to have these bond issues on the April 7th ballot. However, after learning that a number of other political subdivisions would also be having tax increase issues on that same ballot, the council determined to delay putting these questions to the voters until the August 4th election. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, the April 7th ballot was then moved to June 2nd for public safety reasons. A detailed list of the approved projects for these 2 issues is attached to this AIM, and staff recommends approval of this particular ordinance. I would update the council in conversations with County Clerk Fletcher today. We have learned that last week the American Civil Liberties Union did file a lawsuit with the state of Missouri requesting that the next 3 elections, the June election, the August election, and the November election, be that any registered voter be allowed to mail in their ballot. That is going to if that is approved by the courts, that will significantly increase the costs associated with each of those ballot measures that are on there, and hence the cost of the city We will have time before the second reading of this, I hope, to hear which way the courts are going to go on this particular issue. Could impact staff's recommendation of passage on second reading if they are allowed to weigh in that manner. Candidly, with the council, it might cause me to recommend that we put this off until April of next year, when all of this is hopefully behind us to some extent, to the degree that it can be, because that will be a significant issue if anybody is allowed to mail in. The costs associated would be the postage that would be associated, the cost to print ballots for every single person individually and have it mailed to their home, as well as have it available at voting locations. I would anticipate no one would actually, if you have the ballot in hand and all you have to do is fill it out at your kitchen table, you're probably not going to go out and vote anyway. At this particular reading, we have every reason to believe that the June 2nd election will go ahead as planned. Again, whether it will be a write-in or not, we just simply don't know. That concludes staff report on this item, sir.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. Just Councilmember Townsend.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fairborn, if we do come to the point where we have to forego and push this off to next year, what impacts does that have on the other matters, such as the bill grant?
The bill grant will go through no matter what, sir.
I'm sorry, with respect to the funds that we have allocated specific to the I-49/58 bridge.
Within the bond issue itself.
Correct.
As you're aware, the opening bill grant will be for the widening of I-49. We continue to receive very good news on that particular component of it that is a significant reduction in the cost. MoDOT has done some cost modeling associated with it. So even if we put off until April and we needed those funds for the I-49, rather than dedicating them to the bridge alone, which is what we would hope to be able to do, it will be a significant amount of time before any funds would actually need to be spent, even if the bill grant comes through. Those funds would not be available until well after an April ballot issue.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Berg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question about absentee ballots. The deadlines associated with June and August, are they, they're already posted probably on the county website? Is that correct?
June is. I do not believe that August is yet, sir.
Absentee?
For pure absentee ballots.
Okay. Also, do absentee ballot? Yes, absentee ballots, different than what we're talking about.
Yes.
Do absentee ballots cost the city money?
Any costs associated with our portion of any election cost the city money.
Yeah, because generally our bill comes post-election, right?
I'm sorry, Mr. Burke. If you could repeat that.
So absentee ballots are part of that cost?
That's correct. What the county does is they give us a preliminary cost estimate, which is never correct. And then after the election, all the costs that are associated with that are then equally divided according to what each jurisdiction had on the ballot.
Thank you. I just wanted some information for the people that might be listening. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Well, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman.
Mr. Holman.
Sir, I move that we approve Bill 3545, calling for the August 4th, 2020 no tax increase general obligation bond election.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Barber.
Mr. Barber.
I will second the motion.
Thank you, sir. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3545. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Mr. Townsend.
Mr. Townsend.
Yes, sir. This is a comment, maybe not necessarily a discussion point. Forgive me if it was stated earlier, but I don't know if we acknowledged Mr. Goffey on the line related to this matter when Mr. Fairborn was speaking, just for those who may be watching.
For everybody who's watching, if you see down in the right-hand corner of your screen, our special finance advisor, Mr. Todd Goffey, is present for the meeting. And thank you for being here, Mr. Goffey.
Thank you.
Nice kitchen.
Thanks.
If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and have the roll call. Didn't we just do a motion?
Sorry, sir. Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Mr. Goffey, thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry you didn't get a chance to say anything. Would you like to say anything now?
No, that's quite okay. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Appreciate you being there. That concludes our agenda past the items to be considered. We'll now move into the mayor-council communication, and I'll start with Mr. Townsend tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jacobson?
I have nothing either, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Circo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have to again acknowledge on our Municipal Clerks Week, thank Ms. Werner and her staff, our clerks. We do have, I think, the best clerks in any city around, and you do a wonderful job, and we really appreciate all you do yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barber?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll kind of springboard on what Councilman Member Circo said. Thank Ms. Warner and her staff. I know it's not business as usual for them. I know they're probably taking a lot of questions, a lot of concern from the citizens and businesses of Raymore, and I just appreciate them hanging in there and being recognized. Also, just quickly make a note that, you know, if anybody's looking at our agenda, we're looking down the road. So the city of Raymore is not sheltering in. We're looking down the road, and we're going forward, and we've got some stuff that we're going to do, and hopefully we can things can get back to normal, and we can get some dirt turning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burke?
Nothing for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Abdelgawad?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to take a minute and thank Jeannie and the ladies in the municipal clerk's office for their consistent quality work and dedication to the city. Additionally, just a quick shout out for the rest of the city staff. We appreciate, I think consistency is a good word for them too, just the consistency of working through this pandemic. And I think I've been impressed with the communication that we've gotten from the city, but also that the city's sending out to the public. I think that it's evident to people in Raymore that our city is still working and still working for the people who live here. There have been lots of shout outs lately for the police department, their kindness in contacts with people, but also doing a little extra with the birthday parades. I don't know if you've seen that on social media, you know, just to kind of put a smile on people's faces while they're feeling upset or scared or anxious. So just a shout out to all the city staff for the great things that they're doing and keeping us moving forward. As previous council member said, we're not just sitting here waiting for this to pass. We're continuing to plan and continuing to get things done and being here for the people in Raymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Berenson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not a lot of comments tonight. Agree with all the previous comments, and I look forward to seeing the initiation of phase 1 of opening some of these businesses. And I hope that everybody watching will join us in supporting these businesses and helping them out as much as we can. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Was Mr. Holman trying to dial back in?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman. I I lost connection on Zoom, so I just dialed in with my cell phone.
Okay, well, we're down to final comments, and you're the last one there, so if you'd like to provide any comments.
Thanks, sir. The only thing I had, it's ironic, but it was good to see everybody while I did, and to see that you're healthy. That's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you. And I just want to echo some of the comments tonight about the clerk's office. Jeannie and Erica do a great job in there. They've always got a smile on their face, and we have a great time when we can see one another. They do a great job in there. They have been dealing with it quite a bit lately, and I want to thank them for the extra effort, as many people. Rachel Bratton fields a lot of the calls. She's not in the clerk's office, but certainly is part of that process. Ryan Murdoch, Emergency Management, has done a fantastic job. When I'm able to make the COVID meetings at 8:45 in the morning, it's always extremely informational. The team works solidly together, and they provide some great information to me for allowing me to make some of the decisions that I have to make. But frankly, they as a team work quite well together. Mr. Gress has done a great job over in economic development. He has never let things slow up. He continues to work feverishly to bring economic development to our community. He's been a watchdog over our existing businesses to make sure that any assistance they need, he's there to help provide them those resources. And he's done a great job of putting some information together for us for moving forward as we reopen. So it's a great team. Everybody in this room tonight that I'm looking at is just I don't know. I've worked in a couple of cities through my lifetime, and I'm not sure I've been able to work with a group of professionals like I am here, and it really is a good feeling, and I thank them for their patience with me as well as we move forward every day trying to slog our way through this mess. And then thank you to the council. I appreciate your patience too. Dialing in, I know, is kind of a pain, and we'd all rather be here to share our thoughts with one another, but you do a great job of communicating that through the Zoom meeting, and the process gets better every time, and we're getting there. We're getting there, and hopefully we'll be together again soon in the same room. So again, thank you to everybody for everything that you do, and that's all I have this evening. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Holman.
Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Councilmember Holman. I move to adjourn this April 27th, 2020 meeting of the Raymore City Council.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Barber.
Mr. Barber.
I will second the motion.
Thank you, sir. The motion's been made and second to adjourn the April 27th meeting. Could I have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you all. We're adjourned. Have a pleasant evening.